Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me, or I should say, almost good afternoon. In a minute, it's going to change from 11:59 to 12. There you go. I'm Judy Tuttle from Tuttle Up Stamping. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Midland, Texas, and I'm happy to be with you here today. I'm excited to show you some swaps that I have made for some recent swap groups that I've been in that all involve new catalog merchandise. So I'm excited to show you these 3 cards. I hope they get you excited about the new catalog and all the possibilities that it holds. Let me make sure that I have you over here on my computer so that if you're talking to me, which I hope you will, let me know you're here and let me know that you're watching. That's always encouraging for sure. So I have 3 different bundle suites that I am going to be playing with today from the new catalog. The new catalog looks like this. If you have bought anything from me in the past year, you should be getting one of these catalogs in the mail. You can see all my tabs of all the things I want. Jeez. And hi, Dana. Thanks for coming today. It's good to see you. If you don't have it in your hands right now, let me know. You should be getting them in the next couple of days if you're a customer of mine and spent money with me. But if by Wednesday you don't have this catalog in your hands, let me know and I'll get one out to you before I go to Mexico next week. So speaking of Mexico, I'm going to Mexico next Monday for the Stampin' Up incentive trip. It's very exciting. I feel very honored to be a part of the top 1% of Stampin' Up demonstrators that earned the incentive trip. It's always just so much fun to connect with other demonstrators. Stampin' Up just spoils us rotten, and get to spend some quality time with my husband at a beautiful resort in Mexico. So I'm excited about that. So if you don't have your catalog in hand by Wednesday and you feel like you should be getting one, reach out to me and I will check my list. And if you're not on it for some reason or you haven't gotten it yet, I will send you one in the mail. Okay. So this catalog goes live on May the 1st. So that is a week from this Wednesday. Okay. May the 1st, this catalog goes live, but there is a lot of things left in the last chance list that you might want to look over. I posted a file here on this page and it'll list for you all the last chance items, things that are going away forever. A lot of things are just moving into the online store. So that is going to grow and grow and grow bigger and bigger. So that's important for you to know as well. Okay. I'm going to turn my camera down and around like I usually do here. I'm going to be upside down for just a quick second because there's some exciting news that you should know about tomorrow. So here we go. Tomorrow we are having a clearance rack refresh. That means that there are going to be lots of things that have been on sale in the past or that we're just overstocked on that will be going. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining me. So, Mary, the catalog clearance rack refresh will begin tomorrow. And this is where you can get ribbons, papers, stamp sets, dies, things that they're overstocked on that have been on sale but haven't sold at huge discounted prices. Okay. Now, my recommendation for you is don't wait a week to try to get items on the clearance rack. These things go like hotcakes. Okay. So if you get on the website, the TuttleUpShop.com tomorrow morning, and you see things on there that you really want to get, you should place your order right away, or else they might go away. okay? So I'm not trying to like create havoc here. I'm just letting you know I've had a lot of disappointed customers in the past who have wanted things that are on the clearance rack, and then they're gone. I have heard that the Dainty Flowers Designer Series paper was a very popular Designer Series paper from Celebration in 2023. And it's going to be on the clearance rack, as well as another Celebration Designer Series paper. But I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry. So anyway, check out the clearance rack tomorrow morning, because there's going to be huge discounts. And if you're a demonstrator with me or with Stampin' Up, you know, you get your discount on top of the clearance rack prices. So a great time for people to buy and enjoy some deep discounts, okay? All right, so I have 3 cards to do with you today. Can't really decide which one I want to do first. I think I'm going to do this one first. Okay, let me pull out all my pieces here. And we're going to emboss this as well. Okay, so I am using for this card, it's going to start out with a base that is cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I am using Pretty Peacock is what I'm using. Pretty Peacock cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to get my bone folder out here. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining me. And I'm going to get a really crisp fold on that score line right there, okay? This card is going to go this way. I am using a stack of paper that is called At the Pond, and fun prints with ducks. A lot of these are the new ink colors in here. So that is one of the Designer Series paper. Here's one of those cattails. That's kind of fun. This has a duck stamp set and a duck pond die set that coordinates with it, but it was not part of the pre-sale, so I couldn't get that. How cute is that with the little duck? And there's a really fun one here I'm about to show you that has koi fish on it. Here we go. Isn't that fun? Bright, fun Designer Series paper, a little different. And then here's another one with the ducks and another one with the pond. Okay, now the back sides of these, which is pretty much what I'm going to be using today, just has some fun, subtle prints in those new ink colors. That's the peach pie. Here's a little gray. Here's a little pretty and pink. Here's some smaller koi fish, a peach pie stripe, peach pie kind of watercolor, another gray kind of subtle print, and then look at this pretty and pink gingham check there. That's super fun as well. The papers I chose, and I don't have very much of it left because I made a bunch of swap cards with this, is this one right here. It's pink with a little pretty peacock and some little white that's on the back of one of those pond papers. Here's one with some polka dots. I'll be using that one. The back side is another one with ducks on it. This one looks like fireflies flying in the air. It's a more gray, subtle Designer Series paper. And then that has those lily pads and flowers. And then this one right here with those lily pad flowers as well, and the pretty peacock. So this is white. There's a little peach pie in there, a little pretty and pink in there. So we, for this swap card, they asked us to use at least one color of the new ink colors. So my color for this card that I used is the pretty and pink. Okay, so I'm going to use that color right there. We'll get back to that in just a second. The first thing I'm going to do on this card is take a 4-inch by 5¼ inch piece of basic white. And I'm going to emboss it with this lovely florals embossing paper. These flowers, I don't know if you can see them here in the camera very well, but when I emboss it, you'll be able to see it. Look a lot like those lily pond flowers. So I thought, oh, that would be a really fun embossed background on this card. So I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine over here. And then I'll show you how it looks after it is embossed. It's just beautiful. So last week was my first Tuttle Thursday tip Facebook Live. What did you guys think of that? I hope you enjoyed it. It's something that I intend to do weekly now. So this Thursday I will have another one. I don't know if it'll be at 3 o'clock or not. I'll have to work that out. I don't think it will be because our church is having Christy Knuckles come in on Thursday and do a concert at our church, and Jim and I are responsible for picking her and her crew up at the airport. So, I think I'm going to have to do it in the morning sometime. So we will, I'll let you know when I do my Tuttle Thursday tips. So there's that embossing folder. How pretty is that? Isn't that just gorgeous? And doesn't it look a lot like the flowers in this paper that I'm going to be using? So pretty, right? Okay, so the next thing I'm doing is I have a panel that I'm going to put on the front. My white panel is 4¼ by 3½. And then I'm going to have a pretty pink panel that is 1/8 inch bigger, 4 3/8 by 3 3/8. 4 3/8 by 3, that should say 3 5/8. Let's change that right now. 3 5/8. I knew it was wrong as soon as I saw it. Okay, so I'm going to take my 4¼ by 3½ inch white panel, and I have cut 3 different strips of that designer series paper that are all 1 inch by 3½ inches. 1 inch by 3½ inches. And I'm going to glue these to this white panel with about 1/8 inch between each color. I suggest you use liquid glue because that is going to help us shimmy this and get it right in the right place. It's very tight on this white piece of basic white panel right here. Okay, so I'm going to do my outside pieces first. I'm going to put that one on that end. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining us. You were so kind to say how much you love my cards. I really appreciate that. That made my heart happy. Okay, and so this one is going to go on this end. You can see I'm just putting a very thin white strip right there along that side. Okay, and then these two will go inside here. One is going to go right here, and then the other one is going to squeeze in right there. Just a very thin white little strip showing from the back, okay? Thanks, Sherry. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So, like I said on Thursday, if there are things that you want me to talk about, things that you have questions about, that you need tips on, I would be happy to address those on my weekly Tuttle Thursday tips class. I had one of my newer downlines send me a list of things. She's like, these are all the things I really feel like I could use help with, which is very helpful for me, right, when planning these classes. So there I go. There's my panel. I'm going to grab my bone folder and just really press that down. Okay. And then this panel is going to go right on top of this one with this pretty and pink panel with liquid glue. Okay. There we go. And it's just a very thin strip of that pretty and pink all the way around the edge, right like that, okay? Now I'm gonna take this panel and I'm gonna pop it up right here in the center of my card base with dimensionals. So let me grab some of those. So I had a busy weekend. We had Jim's sister and her family come into town just for Friday night. They were actually coming for a birthday party for their niece that lives here. Well, they're her nieces, their niece's children. So we got the pleasure of having them here. That is one of my biggest joys of moving back to Texas, is being closer to family and being a part of things going on in their lives, which we weren't for a long time when we lived in Nebraska. So that's pretty fun. Okay, so now I am using the, let me grab it, Thoughtful Wishes stamp set and dies. This is a suite. This is $1 million Achiever stamp set. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name and it's not written on here. But it has these wonderful like wildflower dies and these beautiful sentiments. There's paper, there's ribbon, there's embellishments, all kinds of fun things that coordinate with this in the new catalog. So I cut the die that basically cuts this flower out, and I cut that out of Pretty Peacock. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, one of these, I only need one, and I'm gonna attach it right here to the front of my card, and I'm gonna use a tiny piece of tearing tape to hold that in place. There we go. And then I grabbed the, here we go, the Unbounded Love dies. And these are just a bunch of beautiful labels. These are the ones I'm not using, but look at all those fun details that you wouldn't even notice. And this is the die that I'm going to use for this card. And I'm going to push those aside for a second. And it cuts out a beautifully scalloped sentiment. The sentiment I am using is this one that's in the Thoughtful Wishes that says, "You make life better." So let me grab that one. "You make life better," right here. And I'm going to stamp that in our new Pretty in Pink. Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining us. So on my basic white right here, I'm going to stamp "You make life better" in Pretty in Pink, right like that. And then I'm going to go over here to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I am going to emboss this, cut this out. So let me grab my plates here. It is so pretty. How this cuts this out. Just some details that I don't know if you would notice if you just saw them in the catalog. So I'm glad I get the chance to point it out to you now. There are a lot of awesome things in the catalog, and it's set up a little differently than it's been set up before, and some people love it and some people don't. I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for all of us. So look at this beautiful scalloped label with the little stitching around the edge that we have there. Isn't that just so, so pretty? I love it. Okay, so I'm going to grab, you guys know how much I love this ribbon, but it is really pretty on this card, so I am not ashamed to use it again. This is our silver and white sheer ribbon, and I'm just cutting like a little ribbon, cause ribbon almost out of that. Just I'm going to make a loop like that and have two little tails right here. And I'm going to set this on here kind of at a catty corner like that. And then what I learned to do is I'm going to take this label, I'm going to put my Seal Plus on the back. I'm going to go back to this, do that again. Like that. And then I'm just going to press it onto here and pick it up. Okay, so that ribbon now is attached to the back of that label, like that. Now I can add some dimensionals, kind of help hold that ribbon down a little bit on the back as well. And then add one to either side of the ribbon here to get a really nice lift on that label. Right there, you make life better. Isn't that so pretty? I love it. I love it. If I have to say so myself. Hi, Sue. Thanks for joining us today. Good to have you here. Okay, so there we go. And then I have some new embellishments. The embellishments I used on this card are these iridescent pearls. So pretty, aren't they? But this one is kind of a pretty peacock color. These are called Adhesive Back Pearl Trios, and these coordinate with that Thoughtful Wishes bundle. And I'm going to take one of these kind of pretty peacock one and just set it right there. Just kind of highlight that label a little bit. Okay, now when I went to the retreat that I went to a week ago, one of the things she did on most of her cards, which I really loved, and something I don't do very often, is add a color border that coordinates behind our basic white paper. So I'm going to put the basic white on the back, adhesive on the back of my basic white, and add a little bit of a pretty and pink border around the edge. So it kind of mirrors what's going on in the front, right? And then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch strip. I think it's cut 1/2 by 3 3/4, I believe. And I'm just going to add it to this edge right here. Just give a little pretty detail. Again, try to mirror what's going on the outside. Follow it up with the inside of your card right there. And then I cut off the excess. And now I'm just going to add this to the inside of my card. Thank you, Terry. I think it's pretty too. And it's very simple, right? So this is going to go right here to the inside of our card. Lots of room to write a beautiful message there. You make life better. I love that. How many people in our lives do we need to say that to? You just make life better. I love that. Okay, so that is my first swap card that I made. I made 22 of those and got them sent out. Let me clean up my area here a little bit, and I'll show you the second card I made. It also uses ink colors. It was a requirement for the second card I'm going to make with you as well. Let me put some things aside here. Thank you, Mary. See, there are things that we think we look at the new catalog, and sometimes we get so overwhelmed with everything that's there that we miss some important things. So, okay, so the next suite that I'm going to be using is the Unbounded Love Suite. Now, this Unbounded Love, these sentiments are beautiful, right? Hope, love, faith. I have a tattoo on my foot that represents hope, love, and faith. And peace, and you're a blessing. Friend with sympathy, happy birthday. My heart goes out to you. Celebrate. There's like everything is in there. And this set comes in a bundle with all of these beautiful labels. So it just gives you lots of options of cutting out these beautiful sentiments with these lovely labels. These come in a bundle together. And for this card that I'm going to make, we're going to use this die. And it's very cool what it does. I can't wait to show you. It cuts out an inside and an outside piece, so that will be fun. And we are also using the Flower Beauty stamp set and the Flower Beauty's coordinating dies. Now you can see I've used these a lot because I've already got them scattered all over the place here. But you get a piece that kind of cuts out like this, a really big, tall kind of wildflower piece. You get some leaves. You get the outline of a flower. You get some other leaves and flower, just tons of stuff here, right? Leaves and flowers, lots of leaves and flowers. So we'll be using that die set on this card as well. The paper we're going to be using is the Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper. Here, let me pull this out for you here. And this is in the new catalog as well. And this has all the new ink colors in it, right? So you see that Petunia Pop, that Summer Splash is in there, that Peach Pie is in there. You keep going, you get more of that Peach Pie and that Petunia Pop and that Pretty in Pink. There is some of that green in here, some beautiful watercolors as well. Just beautiful, beautiful paper, really highlighting all of the new ink colors that are coming out, okay? So let me grab my little packet of the card we're gonna make. I posted this card on a Stampin' group that I am in, and everybody loved it. So I hope that you love it as much as they did. I'm really excited to show it to you right now. Okay, so you're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of Summer Splash, and you're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, so isn't that just such a pretty color? I love that color. All right, and then I have my top panels. I have a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of Petunia Pop, and then this is from that Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper. Isn't that pretty? I just loved how it highlights the Petunia Pop, the Summer Splash, and a tiny little bit of the Pretty in Pink in there. So I'm going to adhere these two pieces together, but instead of centering them, I'm going to shimmy this all the way, offset it to the left side like that, okay? So let me grab my... How do you guys feel about the new ink colors? Usually, it takes me a while to warm up to them, but I have not had that warming up period with these colors because I think I like bright colors anyway, but these are really just very pretty, okay? And then I'm going to attach this to the front of my card here. Okay, and it's going to go right and centered in on that front panel, right like that, just a tiny little edge showing on either side here. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that. Let's try that again. Let me go from this angle here. There we go. There we go. All right. So there's the front panel of my card. Okay, now I have 2 more pieces that I'm going to put on this front panel. I have a 3 5/8 by 4 1/4 piece of Petunia Pop, and I have a piece 3 1/2 by 4 piece of basic white that I have embossed with the textured tile, distressed tiled embossing folder. You can see it looks like those ceiling tiles, a little distressed. And I'm going to adhere these two things together. And I have learned that if you have an embossed piece, it's better to put the Seal Plus on the base rather than trying to put it on the embossed piece. Sometimes it rips it and tears it because it's already, those fibers have already been like softened, you know. Okay, so there is that piece right there. I have a piece of that Petunia Pop new ribbon. So pretty. This is so nice to work with. And I'm going to tie it around. And I just measured it like I always do, you guys. If you're tying a bow, you measure 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit more. Okay? That's how I do it. Now you're going to see that I'm going to end up cutting part of this ribbon off. It's going to be a little long because I did a little more than a little more. So when I tie my bows, I always do the right over the left and kind of form a V like this. And then I take that top and tuck it under. And then I pull it into two perpendicular lines like this. I put my thumb right there on the knot, and I put my fingers under the ribbon, loop up from the bottom, go around the left, and push the ribbon into the hole right there. And I get a perfect bow every time. Perfect bow every time. There we go. So isn't that just so pretty? Just that right there. All right, and you see, I had a little too much. I didn't need quite that much ribbon because I went a little more than a little more. There we go. So pretty. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this panel, and I'm going to adhere it to the top of this panel, kind of shimmy to the left like that, okay? So I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. I know, it does take, you know, Terry, it takes a little practice. I've done a video on tying bows in the past, and maybe that is another Thursday tip video I can do. And people say at first it feels like a struggle, but once they get it, they're like, oh, that's so nice. So practice, which is what I tell my customers, practice. I do enable some of them. Some that struggle a little bit with arthritis and that thing, I will tie their bows for them. But it's a good idea to practice, and they do always turn out so pretty. Okay, so that is the front of my card so far. Are you liking it? Okay, so then I have two of those die cut pieces. I cut one of the taller wildflower die pieces out of Petunia Pop. Okay, and that's going to go right here. And then it's important though, because this is a very tall stem. Can you see that? You don't want the top of this stem to go off the top of your card. So it's okay if it goes past the panel a little bit on the bottom. You just don't want it to go too far off the top. And I'm going to grab my liquid glue for that. And I'm going to put a little glue down here on the bottom. That might be a little too much. You guys know my struggle with liquid glue here. It's either too much or not enough. So, but sometimes with like tiny little dies like this that are very delicate, you have to use liquid glue. You just have to. Okay, so that piece is going to go right there. Pretty so far, right? And then I have this piece that is the more leafy kind of die from that Unbounded Beauty, Flowers of Beauty stamp set and dies. And I cut this one out of Summer Splash. You're going to need a 2-inch by a 3.5-inch piece of cardstock to cut that die out. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add a little glue to this piece just on some of those leaves. You don't have to put it over the whole thing, just on some parts. You just want it to hold it in place. And I'm going to kind of move it to the side a little bit, right? Like that, okay? So now while that is all kind of gelling together, I'm going to grab my scrap of basic white right here. And I'm going to stamp two things. The first thing is I'm going to stamp this tall wildflower right here. And you can see that there's kind of a delicate detail of a stamp and a more inside piece of the stamp. Now, I tried this. I made 22 of these cards, so you have to trust me on this one. I tried this a lot of different ways. I found that it was better to stamp the detail first, okay? The detail first. So I've got my stamp here. I'm stamping the detail first, and I'm stamping it full strength, right like that. Isn't that so pretty? And then I'm taking the more solid image. It's not like super solid, and I don't seem to have here. Let me grab this piece of white right here. I'm going to stamp it off once because I want the inside to be a little bit lighter. And now that I can see that detail, I can line up the leaves on this a little bit better. Press that down, and you can see I get a really subtle, beautiful wildflower image out of that summer splash right there. Okay, now I have already die cut one out for us right here. I did that ahead of time to save us some time. And I'm going to add that now to the top of these flowers. So I'm going to grab my liquid glue again. So all of these products will be available on May the 1st out of the new catalog. So like I said, if you don't have one in your hands yet, let me know. And I can get one to you. Now I'm just going to put this block right here for just a minute to kind of help all of those glued pieces kind of gel together. And in the meantime, I'm going to work on my sentiment. So for this card, I am using a sentiment that says, "You are a true blessing." You are a true blessing. And I'm going to use Petunia Pop on this. You are a true blessing. Right like that. You're a true blessing. Okay, and then I am grabbing this label from the Unbounded Love bundle, and I'm just going to center that right over those words, and I'm going to add my Post-it note tape here. I'm going to get it down just a little bit further, right like that. I'm going to tape it down, go to my die cutting machine over here, and die cut that out. And it's like magic. This is such a cool die. I don't even know if I realized when I first die cut it that it would die cut out like this, but it really is a beautiful touch. So you get two pieces. You get an inside piece and you get an outside frame, which is super fun. It's going to allow us to do a fun thing with this little sentiment here. So let me put that away over there. So you get two pieces. Isn't that cool? So what I decided to do, let me pull this off right here, is I took the frame piece and I kind of put it flat on my flowers. So I'm going to grab my liquid glue again. Okay. And on the top and the bottom, I put some glue. I'm going to lay this flat right there over those flowers. And again, I'm going to put a block on it, just help it gel together. And then I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back side of the inside part. There we go. And I'm going to pop that up inside that frame and give it a little bit of a lift here. Isn't that cool? I love that. Okay, so then we have some new gems, and these have already sold out, but they will be coming back. These are our new In Color Shimmer gems. They come in all the new in colors. Here's a full pack. And we're gonna add these gems kind of around my flower here. I think I'm gonna use the Pretty in Pink this time. So I'm gonna put one right there. Put another one kind of up and over here. And a smaller one right here. Kind of fill in that white space a little bit right there. Looks like I have a dimensional stuck to my, okay. So that is the outside of my card. Do you like that? And then I'm gonna do to the inside of my card exactly what I did on the last one. I have a 3 3/4 by 5 inch panel of basic white that I am gonna attach to a 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 panel of Petunia Pop. But this time, before I attach those together, I'm gonna stamp that flower again in my Summer Splash, here it is, to the inside. I really loved this. So I'm gonna take that wildflower and, oh, that's the more, oh, that's the more. I'm gonna stamp the detailed kind of flower first in full strength. And then I'm gonna grab the more solid image. I'm gonna do just what I did last time. I'm gonna stamp off on another sheet of paper here first. And then I'm gonna add, line it up. I feel like if you get the top little stem here and this one little leaf here on the right, if you get those lined up, it will all line up pretty well all the way down. There we go. Beautiful. I'm going to add a strip of this designer series paper to the bottom. Put that away. So I love doing swaps, although, you know, it can be a lot of work to make lots of them, right? So I'm putting that little piece of designer series paper right there at the bottom. And now I'm going to add this to my Petunia Pop panel. Right here. Just a small little tiny edge all the way around. There we go. And now this panel will go inside this panel. Isn't it pretty? You know, Stampin' Up really makes the color coordination and everything so simple. I don't know if I would have put these colors together in my brain if they hadn't done it for me. And that is one of the very nice things about Stampin' Up is that they take that Post-it note off, huh? They do all that work for you and help you with all of that. So you don't have to think so hard. When I was a scrapbooker, I used to really spend a lot of time trying to coordinate colors, and that's why I fell in love with Stampin' Up 25 years ago, is because they did all of that hard work for me and made it just so much easier. Like, take all the brain work out of trying to coordinate things together, right? Okay, now, my last card is from a totally different suite. It's a more masculine card, but I made it for my Mexico trip swap. I'm going to put this one away, get all that stuff kind of out of the way that I don't need anymore. I am not the best at cleaning up my space, but I'm going to be here today. Okay, so this is, do you want to see it ahead of time or not? I don't know. Some of you said you did and some of you said you didn't. So I'll go ahead and show you. How cute is this? This is a new little airplane stamp set and die set that we got in the new catalog. It's called Adventurous Sky. It comes with the stamps. It comes with the dies that coordinate. One of them builds an airplane. The others cut out the outside image of the airplane. And then we have some designer series paper. You know what, Terry? I'm going to be honest with you. I have not used the color wheel yet, but they just gave us one when we went to Houston to Onstage, and I'm going to start playing with it a little bit. Basically, usually, I'm going to be honest, what I do, I look at the colors that they mention: boho blue, copper clay, mossy meadow, night of navy, smoky slate, and I try to kind of coordinate my cards to the colors they recommend, okay? But I am going to start studying like how to do the color wheel, start playing with that, and hopefully get better at that, okay? So here we go. I'm going to put a couple of my stamps together here because I just realized I didn't pull out my large cloud, and I'm going to need that. Every time I say cloud, I think of that song. Hey, you, get off of my cloud. You guys know what I'm talking about. I think it's Rolling Stones, but I could be wrong about that. Okay, so what I started with is a piece of balmy blue. I have balmy blue cardstock cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Let me pull out all these other pieces here. And again, I'm going to grab my bone folder and I'm going to score that line really well. Laura, you use the color wheel. You're good about that. Is that what you're saying? I wish I was, and I'm going to be. You know, if we're not growing, we're dying, right? So I'm just going to keep learning. Even after my 15 years as Stampin' Up demonstrator, I just keep learning, right? Keep being a part of. I know I'm gonna clean this off because I know, although it doesn't stress me out, it's gonna stress you out. So I'm gonna color around here. There we go. All right. So let me ink this up again, and I'll tell you what I did. I inked. I stamped a cloud, and then I stamped off a cloud on the other side, okay? And then I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp off a cloud on this side, and then stamp off a tiny little edge of a cloud on that side, like that. So that's going to be my background clouds. Oh, yes, the song, you're right. Hey, you, get off of my clouds. I think it's Rolling Stones, but I could be wrong. Okay, so one of the pieces in this designer series paper, and I was going to show you that right here. So you get a panel that gives you already pre-made panels that you can put on your card, and some tags down here, which is super cool. And then we've got some line drawn airplanes. We have a world map. The back side of this is a copper clay kind of check. We've got a world map, which is super fun. That's in Mossy Meadow. The back side of that is this navy blue. It almost looks like a fabric weave. Here's another Mossy Meadow with the line drawn. And then this is a smoky slate, kind of riveting metal rivet design. Here's some small planes, and the back side of that is kind of a topography map, and I think that's what it's called, topography. My professor at A&M in geology would be happy if I said that correct. But anyway, I'm using the clouds, and on the back side of the clouds was this smoky slate check, and I don't have very many pieces of this left because I used a whole bunch of it. So I'm going to grab my, I'm glad I'm not the only crazy one, Laura, that always wants to sing that song when I see clouds. Okay, so this is going to go right smack in the middle of my card right here. And so for my incentive trip swaps, I could use anything I wanted that was in the pre-order. So I had been dying to play with these airplanes, and I wanted to get away from the ink colors for a little bit. I was kind of ink colored out. I have another swap that I made, part of a new bundle tutorial group that I have just been recently asked to join, which is fun. And but I'm not allowed to show it yet. So it's exclusive until everybody gets a chance to make their card. So I have made the body of the airplane. I die cut out of Misty Moonlight. The wings and the metal parts, I die cut out of silver foil. And then my propeller here, I die cut out of basic gray. Okay, so I'm going to attach, and I have found that the best way to do this is to grab, let me see right here, a silicone mat. You can see I've used this one a lot. I probably should have found one that was a little less gnarly, but you know, we're crafters, we understand that. Okay, so I'm going to put my airplane here. I'm going to add some liquid glue. So the nice thing about, hi, Melinda Blevins, thanks for joining me. I don't know if I've met you before. I appreciate you being here. I see some chads that I didn't get out of that. Okay, so I do love this airplane set. So I found that you need to put a little glue right here on this front motor, propeller motor section. Picked up my non-good glue instead of my good glue. Here we go. Right here on this front, there we go. Right here at the very top of this bottom wing, back here on this tail right here, and then just a few touches around the wheels right here. Okay. Ignore the top wing altogether because it kind of goes off the edge of the top of the plane. Okay, so there we go. A little too much glue on that, but we're going to let it go. Okay, so that's going to be our airplane. And then I've got this propeller, and I'm going to put just a tiny dot of glue right here on the front of the plane. And I'm going to add my propeller right to that spot. Okay. Okay, while this is sitting, drying, I'm going to work on some new elements that I'm going to put on the inside and the outside of my card. Let me grab my pieces over here. Okay, so for the inside of my card, I have a piece of 3 1/4 by 5 basic white and 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 of Misty Moonlight. Before I adhere those together though, I decided I was going to take my Misty Moonlight and add an airplane. Hi, Jeanne. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to stamp the line drawn airplane kind of up here in this corner, right like that. And then I have some smaller clouds here. And I'm going to stamp a solid one, and then I'm going to stamp it off one right there, and maybe one more time there. Okay? Now, this is going to go on the inside of my card. So I'm going to add this basic white panel to this Misty Moonlight panel. Like that. And then I'm going to add this to the inside of my card. Me too, Laura. And you know, as soon as I saw it, I knew I loved it. Some of my demonstrator friends weren't sure they were crazy about it, but I think after they see my swaps, they're going to like it. That sounds pretty vain, doesn't it? Okay, so that's going to be the inside of my card. Isn't that pretty? Okay, it's not pretty. It's just cool. All right, so now I've got my airplane here, and he's going to go up there. But before I put him down, I have some pieces for my sentiment, and just to add a little detail, more detail to the front of this. So I have this piece, and that is that DSP that was the smoky slate kind of riveted metal piece. The back side is the mossy meadow with the line drawn. And this is cut 1/2 by 3 inches, 1/2 by 3 inches. And I'm just going to take my paper snips and kind of cut one end, the left end at a diagonal. And then I'm going to add some liquid glue. And I'm going to attach that right here underneath those clouds. Okay. Then I have the metallic sheets that comes with the airplane set. There's a copper and a gold, and then there's this tungeon, I think it's tungeon, and I cut it 1/4 of an inch by 4 inches, and then I cut off that edge as well at a diagonal. And this, you guys, is just to give some additional detail so the front of the card doesn't look quite so boring. Just adding some more elements to make it pop right like that. Okay? I have a piece of basic white cut 3/4 of an inch by 4 3/4 of an inch. And I'm using the sentiment. I love this one. You're the best, plain and simple. So plain, they wrote it like airplane instead of like PLAIN. And I'm going to stamp that right there. And then you can banner cut this by hand. I am using a retired punch that I love, that I do use for my small banners like this one. And I'm just going to banner that end right like that. Pretty cute, huh? And I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. For this one, I had to make 26 of these. So I needed to keep it simple enough that I could do those 26 easily, but interesting enough that it wasn't too boring, right? So that is always the challenge with swap cards, is that you don't want to make them too hard, or else you're going to be killing yourself doing all the die cutting, right? Okay, so this is going to go right here over all of that. And so you just get a little bit of that shining from underneath here of those other colors. I'm going to grab some dimensionals for my plane. I'm using my edges here. You guys know how I love to do this because I use every smidgen of my dimensionals that I can, because I go through them like water. There we go. And pop this plane up right on the front of this card, and we will be done with this one that I made for my Mexico swap right there. So do you guys like that? I think it's super fun. I love the die cuts on this set. I love the masculine feel to it. Not that airplanes have to be masculine, but it does give, you know, guide cards can be challenging. So here, I'm going to pull them back out and show you my 3 cards that I made today using new catalog stuff. Adventurous Sky, Flowers of Beauty with the matching dies and the ink colors. And then I used the pond, at the pond paper with Pretty in Pink, the lovely florals embossing folder, and that new beautiful die set with all the labels that is called Unbounded Love dies. So these are my 3 cards for today. I hope that gives you some excitement about the new catalog that's going to go live next week, and that you enjoyed watching me make these. They're super fun, aren't they? Okay, I'm going to pull my camera up. I will not be here next Monday because I am going to be in Cancun. So I won't be here to do a live on Monday. I will probably come on live and show you some updates from Cancun. And like, thank you guys for helping me get there. I wouldn't be going if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you so much for all the love you share with me, with your orders, with my classes, with showing up for my Facebook Lives. That is all very important to me. I will be here Thursday at some point for Tuttle's Thursday tip. So be looking for that announcement on this Facebook page. And I wish you all God's blessings. God bless everybody. Love me, like me, share me, and thanks. I appreciate you all so much. Bye-bye.